Hi, I'm Rick Hanson for the Mindful Living Week, presented by the Awake Network in partnership with Shambhala Mountain Center. And we have a challenge for each day, and the mindfulness challenge for today relates to relationships, and the challenge is to tune in to others. This has to do with empathy, one of the most fundamental qualities in being human. Empathy can sound fancy. It's really quite straightforward. It simply means having an experience over here that is in some ways like the experience that others are having over there. And in your brain, empathy is supported by three different networks that relate to three different aspects of empathy. One aspect of empathy is tuning into, or in some sense, simulating over here, a sense of the actions of others. And the part of the brain that gets engaged in this are the mirror neurons, or a little more technically accurately, mirror-like networks that both activate when we're doing a certain action, such as reaching for a cup, and they activate as well when we see others performing that action. They're reaching for the cup. So we get a sense over here of what it's like to be them from the inside out. The second major neural network of empathy involves the insula on the inside of the temporal lobes, which helps us tune into ourselves, especially our deepest emotions, and we draw upon the insula to tune into the emotions of other people. That's the second major aspect of empathy. And the third aspect of empathy is to tune into or simulate over here the thoughts of other people, their plans, their intentions, the ways that they've been shaped by their previous life experiences, their personality factors. We tune into the thoughts of others through what is called in developmental psychology a theory of mind, that others are having experiences in some ways like ourselves, so we can make hypotheses about what they might be experiencing and then test them. And we can tune into the thoughts of others. And the part of the brain that's involved in that is right behind the forehead, the prefrontal regions of the neocortex. These three aspects of empathy give us three opportunities for mindfulness. We can be mindful of the actions of others, the body language, the posture, the facial expressions, quick, fleeting micro-expressions around the eyes and the mouth, really useful way to tune into others. We can also take up the challenge of tuning into the emotions of others, imagining for ourselves what it might feel like to be them, and then bringing that kind of receptivity, that willingness to be touched or moved by others who land upon us. We can engage that as well for that kind of empathy. And then finally, in terms of tuning into the thoughts of others, it's really useful to step back in a kind of neutral, witnessing, non-judgmental place and ask ourselves, wow, what might you be thinking? Or what might you be planning next? Or what's the underlying deep want beneath whatever it is that you're talking about right here? So these are three different aspects of empathy and really good to draw upon mindfully. Empathy is fundamentally mindfulness for the inner world of another person. So let's do a little bit of a practice here, if you like. And I'm going to ask you in a moment to bring to mind someone who has a significant role in your life. And it even could be someone that you're having some difficulty with. Because critically important, empathy is not agreement. We can be empathic for others that we disapprove of, that we oppose, perhaps politically, that we disagree with. And in fact, if anybody is important to have empathy for, it's our opponents, our adversaries, or the people that we're trying to sort out what to do with, because it's them in particular that it's really, really useful to know kind of what's going on with them. And of course, it's useful to be empathic with our intimate partners and our family and friends. All right, so if you like, here we go. Bring to mind someone that you could have empathy for, you could tune into. Maybe it's someone that you will be seeing today in this day of challenge. And as you bring to mind this person, get a sense in yourself of what it's like to receive another being. We often glide over the surfaces of the people in our lives. We don't take the time, the extra 2, 3, 4 seconds, to really let them land. And I don't know about you, but I've been on the receiving end of what felt like generic compassion or generic kindness from people who could not be bothered to actually be affected by what I was feeling. Flip it around and just imagine what a gift it is to others to let them land in your heart. Doesn't mean you agree with them or you let them dominate or control you. And you can let them land and register what it might be like to be them. What's it feel like to receive others and let them land in general? And then with this person, imagine some of their body movements, the characteristic ways they move, quickly or slowly. Do they tend to lean in or lean back? Are their shoulders slumped? Is there a weariness? Does life for them feel like moving against the current every day, swimming upstream, uphill? Perhaps there's a buoyancy, a bounce alternately. We can be empathic for positive states of being in others, not just for quote-unquote negative ones. So I'll be quiet for a moment here as you try to register the actions, the bodiness of the other person. All right. In other words, what might it feel like inside their body as they do those actions? And a way into that is to imagine what it would be like in your body if you also did those actions, including in terms of posture, facial expression, and subtleties of how you hold yourself in this life. Okay, and then in the second step of empathy, tuning into the emotions of others, see if you can imagine what you would feel like yourself emotionally if you had the life of the other person. Including, perhaps, if you're brave, if you bumped into you like they're bumping into you, or interacting with you, or having issues with you, or just having a relationship. What might you be feeling emotionally if you were inside their world? It's a bit of a trick, but a useful one, to tune into the deepest layers of your own body, especially your torso, your internal organs. And what might be some of the emotions that you'd be having if you had the life of that other person? It might help to name them to yourself, perhaps with just simply a word, such as sorrow, joy, irritation, longing. Okay. And then in the third step, moving from empathy for action and empathy for feeling, moving now, third, into empathy for thought, the thoughts of the other person. And a way into this is to start forming some educated guesses about what the other person might be thinking, their point of view, or way of framing things for themselves in terms of their view. So form some thoughts about what their views might be that you could test, you could try out, including thoughts about what most matters to those other people, what their values are, or this other person rather. Or you might form thoughts about how they fundamentally look at things. And then think of the evidence for or against those hypotheses as a way to refine your empathy for the thoughts of other people. And you can try this now, and I'll be quiet, with this other particular person. What are they thinking? Can you find one thing that would be surprising or fresh or useful to recognize in yourself about what they are thinking over there? Okay, so finishing up here, we've been exploring how to tune into others, drawing on 3 neural substrates of empathy. And as a challenge for you, as the day goes forward, I want to suggest 2 things. The first is see if you can learn something new about someone you know well, maybe someone you work with routinely or live with. What is a new thing to learn about what it's like to be them? Just one new thing. That's a good challenge for today. And a second related challenge in terms of mindful attunement to other people is as you're moving through the street or a store or driving in traffic, look at somebody who's a stranger to you. You don't know that person. And without being creepy about it and staring at them or anything like that, see if you can let the stranger land. See what it's like to get a sense of that other person, and take a moment without trying to be presumptuous about what it's like to be them, but see if you can get a sense of registering what might be burdensome for them, what might be a longing for them, what might be something they like or care about. And in the process of kind of hit and run empathy, as it were, with the stranger, who could be someone passing by you on a busy city street, see if you can use that as an opportunity to be empathic for them. And if you like, take the bonus from it, which is if we can be empathic for strangers passing by on the street, we can be empathic for just about anyone, which is, of course, a great gift for them and for ourselves as we increase our mindfulness for the inner world of other people.